Are you ready to become awesomer? Hello everyone, this is Umar, your host, and welcome to the No Limit Selling Podcast, where industry leaders share their tips, strategies, and advice on how to make you better, stronger, faster. Get ready for another episode. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Karl Nielson. He's the founder of the Institute of NLP. Karl, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Umar.
Karl, NLP is such a powerful toolkit that has changed many lives, including mine, and yet it hasn't caught on at the level it should. What are your thoughts on that? What's the disconnect between having something that could change humanity and not having humanity embrace it in the way that they should?
This is a challenge for us master trainers, and there's something more to do. There's already a long way that we are going, and now we have some more to do. Yes, I agree.
So, what's your definition of NLP? Because NLP, one of the things that really intrigued me about NLP was a lot of disciplines have this notion that this is the best way, this is the only way, we are the best. And the initial kind of thought process on NLP was we are thieves and we look at what's working, we make it better, we model it, we develop new concepts, but it's always changing, always looking to improve. And from my point of view, that's one of the reasons it's so hard to define, is because it's always evolving into something more significant. So what is your definition of NLP?
This is nice. This is like humanity. Humanity is always developing. NLP is always developing. Yes, and there are these definitions of when it works, it was NLP. When it does not work, it was something different.
Brilliant. It goes back to that human equation. It's like... So what would be your, if you were lecturing and you're going to be doing a presentation in Sao Paulo, Brazil at the World Congress,
yes.
And if an audience member asked you, Karl, what is NLP? What would be your answer?
Yes. NLP is the best I came about, which helps you to change the mind, to work with your mind, to be the owner of your mind, to use your beliefs for the best of you, that they do not work against you, that you can analyze your mindset and you can change your mindset. And I know nothing better to change your thoughts and to be the controller of your thoughts instead of being the victim of your thoughts. You know?
So what sometimes when I think about this, I've never seen this picture, but I wish I could, of Einstein having 21 blackboards of ugly, horrible math. And then after lots of pain and suffering, he takes this horrible math and condenses it down to E equals MC squared. And there's a quote from Einstein that says, I do not like simplicity, but I love simplicity on the other side of complexity. And I think that is what I see NLP as, that it's simple, it's actionable, anybody can do it. But we had to figure out what the complexity was and get to the other side of it, that we can give mere mortals like you and I the ability to change our mindset in a moment's notice.
Well, there is just a big development in the human race anyhow, yeah. So we are developing and have new challenges with artificial intelligence, with climate change, with a lot of challenges that are new, that have never been the way they are, so there are developments in the intelligences that human acquires, that human are able to think, how to think, and the brain is changing, and we are changing, and it's so we have in NLP waves of development, like the wave where it's just like oh, I'm the very best and no one else is like me and I will conquer the world and things like this.
Yes.
And then you have this kind of that the NLP world learned that you can change your beliefs, and when you change your beliefs, you will change your emotions, and you will change the focus how you experience the world, and you will to change how. And then we were very strong on modeling, and in fact, we had a long time in NLP where we just changing beliefs. So changing beliefs is just something like if you change in a computer program, so program, yeah, but you're still a
Yes.
computer. I mean,
Yes.
there is something beyond this, and this for this step, I created a few years ago with NLP, the P for philosophy. For I think NLP goes far deeper than what the founders were thinking
Envision.
about.
Hmm.
So it touches as well philosophical questions from where do I come from, why am I here, what is the meaning of my life, what happens when I leave this planet. So I mean, you come here, have hopefully nice holidays here, enjoy it here in the world while you are spending your time with others, and then what happens when you leave? And you can have experience about this where you come from. You can go in deep trance and find out that there are really wonderful places when you go down in your inner. Or this quote is the only way out is the way in.
Yeah, I think the what we need to discover is ourselves, and for many people, that is a very hard thing to do. And I think NLP is one of the tools that can help you go quite deeply, quite quickly. But there are a
Yes.
lot more tools out there in the mindfulness space. In fact, you'll be teaching a course on that with a
Yeah.
bridge between NLP and mindfulness. Why don't you give
Mhm.
us like a little bit of an idea of what that looks like practically
Yeah.
for an average person? How does that enhance their lives and their capabilities?
And mindfulness was coming into the world, of course, with old Buddhism a long time ago. And then it started with mindfulness based stress reduction. And
Yes.
this became very famous. There were a lot of researches on it since people from the cognitive behavioral therapy started to use mindfulness in their therapeutic approach. And when you look at the programs, what they do is that they just teach things that we were teaching always in NLP, is that you are not your thoughts, that you are not your emotions. Your emotions come and go, your thoughts come and go. You are more than just your thoughts, you're more than just your emotions. And this is very helpful to learn that your emotions come and go. So I was analyzing the mindfulness based stress reduction, which is the main program where everything else developed from, at least in the scientific world, on the scientific accepted world, where the research are all done. And I looked at what they were doing and I said, okay, we from NLP can do this better. We have first, second, third position when we do mindfulness trance, like we have the Milton language. We touch people far deeper than all what I heard from mindfulness trance inductions or mindfulness stories or mindfulness meditations, guided meditations, and things like this. So I thought that we have in NLP and coaching the qualities that would strongly enrich what mindfulness already does. This is what I included in the mindfulness. So we have all that's there in mindfulness, like the breathing techniques, the yoga techniques.
So, Carl, why don't, as we're talking here, why don't you guide me through a simple technique that could
Yeah,
give me some benefit right now? What's something simple you could
yeah,
share with the
yeah,
listeners?
yeah, yes, yeah. Great, let's do this. Yes, I mean, if you just gratefulness is. unbelievable big issue in mindfulness. Huh?
Yes.
So if you remember that there are people that you met in your life that were grateful to you. Somehow they looked at you and you looked at them, and in your face you saw something like, oh, wow, yeah? And you felt they are open and they accept you as you are. This is not always the time, not everyone is this type, but when you think about people who were doing this kind of
Yes.
behavior, and you just take somebody that you remember, the first one who comes into your mind, where you say, oh, wow, yeah, I remember. Maybe it's something from your family, a grandfather, or some
Yes.
a teacher, or someone. Yeah, you can just pick the first that comes in your mind, and then accept the feeling that you have when you experience this.
And when
And
you do that,
then
what happens?
when we just experience what happens inside you, yeah, when you have it, yeah. And then for a moment, this is what when the NLP comes in, yeah. Imagine you could go outside from your own perception and enter the other person that is so grateful, that is, and you look through his eyes and you go into his body and look through his eyes and you experience his state of emotions, his mind, his emotions. How is he? And when he is looking at you, just experience his way of looking at you. What does he see when he looks at you? Yeah. And how does it feel when you look through his eyes and see you through his eyes?
Yes, feels great.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what's two
Yeah.
things come up, Carl. One is there's an
Yeah.
old saying that's probably in every single culture, like you have to walk in the other person's shoes. And I
Yes.
think it's different than what you just did because when we walk in someone else's shoes, it's a very analytical process. And what you
Yeah.
just guided me through and the listeners through was a very organic and
Yeah.
transformative. It's a deeper insight
Yeah.
into how they see, how they feel, how they think about you. And I think that's one of the
Yeah.
things that NLP allows you to do is to, and mindfulness, go in at a much more important, deeper level. So you get
Yes.
the benefit and the information that would have been missing if you just made it an analytical thought experiment.
And when you see how and when you take this back into your when this what you saw through the other person's eyes, when you take this back to your own experience, when you go back to your own body again, yeah, and feel that oh, this is what he sees in me. I was not aware that this is something I have, yeah. That gives you new freedoms. This gives you a new choice. This gives you a new energy. So when
Absolutely.
I was analyzing the mindfulness processes, and I was listening to a lot of audios and videos and how they do it, they just don't know this process of first, second, third position and when you can take it, and when you can even see it from outside, how these two things bring you forward in your life. Yeah, they just don't know it, and we have all these tools that we can introduce into mindfulness and intensify mindfulness.
Brilliant. And I think that's one of the things that NLP is really good at. It gives you that
Yeah.
fundamental toolkit that allows you to take any other modality and examine it deeply and then also give people a more powerful experience of something that they got benefit from and just make it even more powerful.
Yeah, this is why we came to this idea to found last December. Last December, we founded this Institute for Mindfulness Evolving, and the in and mindfulness and evolving gives me in me, the world in
Yes.
me. Yeah, en minus me in me. This is what's all about. For
I,
you know,
I came across this concept. It was, I forget the name of the professor that was talking about it, but he just put it in such a crisp, clear fashion that's still confusing to me, and I'll tell you why. But he was talking about consciousness. Like, what is consciousness? And this is
Yeah.
how he described it. He described it as, I wake up in the morning, and as soon as I'm aware and I'm out of the sleep mode, that is my consciousness. And when I stagger
Yeah.
out of bed and I go to the bathroom and I look in the mirror and I see that body, Umar, looking back at me, that is not
Mm.
consciousness. That is awareness. Like, I'm not sure quite what it means, but I get that there's something different from the physical self when you see it, and the entity, the soul, let's say, that is Umar, is a different
Yeah.
thing than the body.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. This thing about consciousness and awareness and mindfulness and what the difference are is not really easy. And in fact, I really think there are different levels of consciousness. And mindfulness is, in fact, when you study it, it's consciousness. You're just conscious about your thoughts. You're conscious about your emotions. This is a kind of consciousness where you see, oh, this emotion is coming. Do I like it? No, I don't like it. So I just look for a different kind of emotions. Then you can change it. Yeah, you can do something about it. This is consciousness as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's, do you remember that old movie called Dune? It was based on the Frank Herbert
Yes.
books.
Yeah. Yeah. Science fiction. Yeah.
And there's this one
Yes.
scene in there where the lead character talks about fear, about, I will let fear pass through me and move away
Yes.
from me, and I will look at fear as it leaves me. And it was all about that, just being in that spot of consciousness, and where fear becomes a very real thing for human beings, and we get absorbed by it and smothered by it. That if you just realize it's just an emotion and let it pass through you,
Yeah.
that there's something on the other side of the fear that is quite important. And the same thing would be true for happiness, joy, uh, pleasure, that if you get caught up in the emotion, which is, a very nice thing to do, but you can also let it go through and just see
Yes.
what's behind it. And I think something interesting is there.
Absolutely, absolutely. In the same movie, there is one of the main topics is that a long time they think that you cannot change what has been foreseen for you, and that
Yes.
you cannot change the things that will happen. They are all, and all of a sudden the character realizes, oh, I can change what everybody was thinking, what will happen next. I can change it, and I can become the creator of my own reality.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So here's something that really
Yeah.
intrigues me. I was talking to
Mm.
someone that used to belong to this organization, and we won't name them. We'll call them Corporation X. And
Yeah.
they were fired by Corporation X because they were not selling indiscriminately to other people to buy this product. And for our hero in the story, it was like, this puts me out of integrity selling to that person, because this is going to damage the group that I'm working with. So I'm not going to do that. They said, if you don't sell, we're firing you. And if you looked at the
Oh.
corporate values, one of the values was integrity and delivering value that's,
Yeah.
high quality value. So here's the thing that intrigued me, is that they were violating that value because they needed more revenue coming in to, save the company. But in their mind, they had twisted reality to suit their belief system that they're still in integrity while they're doing something out of integrity. So that human
Yeah.
capacity to lie to ourselves and to be a prisoner
Yes.
of our old beliefs,
Our own lives. Yes.
and
Our
that
stories.
is so
Yes.
much. I can see it easily. Let's say if you and I were in the same city, you're in Berlin right now, I'm in Baltimore in the US. And if you were
Yeah.
doing something that wasn't right for Karl, I could see it more clearly than you could, and vice versa. That ability that
Yes.
humans have to delude themselves, I think, is masterful and also tragic.
Yes, you are so right. Yeah, we are storytellers. We keep our mind is keeping telling us stories about who we are and what we are and what's right and what is wrong, and we can be so caught up in these stories. And this is what happened all the past development of humankind, that we were mainly caught up in stories, and we were doing wars for just believing in this. We were just prisoners of our own thoughts. So now we can go a step further. Now we have a new time. We arrived at a new way of living. We never had this medicine security that we have, so much security about medicine. We never had this amazing amount of food that we can produce, that everyone can live on. So we have a new area of humanity, and we have entered a new way of being able to think, to be master of our thoughts, and not to be the slaves of our thoughts. So this, we ended in the old history, only few enlightened people, Buddhas and Jesuses and people like this, Zen Buddhists, were able to do this. But now it's spread all over the world. There are more and more people able to understand their own thoughts and their own feelings, and how they create it and how they can change it.
Brilliant. Karl, this podcast is kind of revolves around sales and leadership, and people are probably wondering, this doesn't sound anything close to that. And the reason I wanted to have this conversation is, as things accelerate, as artificial intelligence comes in, as humans get marginalized, the humans that are going to contribute and rise up and change the world are going to be the ones that are self-actualized. And that comes from mindfulness, NLP, other modalities that embrace our humanity, because I think that will be the killer app that defines the future.
This is really true. And big companies like Google have understood it. They have mindfulness programs, and other advanced companies who make a lot of money have understood that in order to have this capacity of the intelligence that is needed for the challenges we have, or even for the market intelligence you need for the market to understand how the market goes, and to invent new things and to market them, you need a new kind of mindset, and you need mindfulness for this mindfulness, and you need freedom of the people. The people need even like societies like Japan. The Japanese has changed their school systems for that. It's not possible that we catch up with what's required if our pupils only learn to do what they are told to do. They need to be creative and to have new thoughts, and so even the Japanese started programs to open school systems that the pupils at school learn to criticize their teachers. This is totally new for Japanese.
Absolutely. So on that happy note, Karl, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your evening or late afternoon in Berlin to chat with me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Umar, and I really admire all the work you do, and I'm grateful for whenever I see what you're bringing to the world. It's so wonderful, all your impulses, and I think you're one of the people who really push for change in this world, and that people get mindful, and people get aware, and that people get conscious, and that people wake up. So great what you do. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to put all your contact information in the show notes. Karl, have a great evening, and thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating. And if you're looking for more tools, go to my website at nolimitselling.com. I've got a free mind training course there that's going to teach you some insights from the world of neuro-linguistic programming, and that is the fastest way to get better results.